training facility. So that's got to have been great preparation for the Brazil side. And I think we shouldn't give any disservice to the other groups. So I know we say we really wouldn't spend any time on A, B, D, and E, and we will talk about the round of 16 matchups based on who we pick to come out of each group. But Portugal and Spain in Group B, that's going to be a tough one. You've got Argentina and Croatia in Group D. Brazil probably have light work made of their group with Switzerland, Costa Rica, and Serbia. It could be a walk in the park for them. There could be some great upsets. So let's talk a little bit about England and Belgium, Group G. Two great teams from Belgium. Belgium, managed by Roberto Martinez, he of Wigan and Everton fame. We've got 3 Spurs players, 2 definites, 1 maybe, before the World Cup kicks off in Toby, Jan Vertonghen, and Moussa Dembele. And then England has 5 players representing the 3 Lions in Trippier, Rose, Kane, Dele, and Dyer. So 8 Spurs players out of the 12 in this group. So let's kind of talk about this group a little bit. Have any of you had an opportunity to watch England in their 2 warm-up matches with Nigeria and Costa Rica?
I have.
What did you think?
I think that they're kind of firing on all cylinders. I mean, leading into the World Cup and during some of the qualifiers, we would watch those games and they would be flat. I mean, Wembley would be flat. The team would look a little flat. But if you look at their form over the past month and a half or so, it looks really good. I think that they're hitting stride right at the right moment. I do not think they're going to win the group. I do think Belgium will win the group. I do think it'll come down probably to goal difference. I think both of these are going to end up with 7 points, drawing each other and defeating the other 2 in the group. And I've got Colombia playing England in that next round, and I've got Belgium playing Poland in that next round.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Belgium winning the group. I don't think that when England and Belgium play each other, it's going to be a draw, though. I think there will be a winner. However, my thing, I actually think England might beat Belgium, but I have this funny sinking suspicion that, just like always, England is going to blow it against Tunisia or Panama somehow.
Well, so I watched both games. I thought England did really well with a great start against Nigeria. The one thing that kind of stuck with me through that match was this reticence by some of the players not to feed it to the Dele-Kane combination, because I really think, and granted, I've got the lily white tinted glasses on, but to get those 2 into the game gives us a chance that I don't see any team is going to be able to combat. And, once Kane got onto that ball, and I think it was, I was going to say Sterling, but it might not have been Sterling that got him the ball. It might have been Ashley Young.
I think it was Rashford.
Was it? So the ball that got to Kane, obviously you give him that half chance, and he hammered it. I mean, the keeper it was just too strong for him. And that's where we stand that great chance to open up. Obviously, Rashford's goal against Costa Rica, opportunistic, but a solid goal. I thought England, little shaky once Nigeria scored a goal in the beginning of the second half in that first game, but I thought they really controlled the tempo. Defensively, they looked cohesive. I think Stones is a weak link. I'd like to see Maguire, Walker, and Cahill in that back 3 if he is going to go 3-5-1-1, which seems to work. If it is that gives Trips and Rose an opportunity. Rose, given the full 90 minutes against Costa Rica, had a great game. He wasn't so hot when he came on in the Nigeria game. Dyer didn't see any action in the second match, but he looked to be solid. But then again, so did Henderson in the time he played in the Costa Rica match. And I know there's a lot been discussed about Henderson versus Kane on the captaincy. Let's not go there, but let's talk about, and I'll reserve my placements until we get into the predictions, but let's talk about if it is going to be a 3-5-2, can we have Trips and Rose play, making that potentially 5 Spurs players starting in, say, that first match against Tunisia? Ken?
Yeah, I guess potentially you could certainly do that. It would just be really interesting to see what he does with Walker in that formation. Because if Trips plays, do you put one of those as part of the back three, or do you have Walker as part of the back three? That's the only talking point for me. I think everybody else will definitely be starting.
Yeah, I mean, he had the Liverpool lad with the 2 last names. Is it Alexander Trent Arnold?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he had a good game.
Yeah.
Right, and let's face it,
he's a good player.
He's not played any international football, and he makes his debut. He's in the World Cup squad, and I thought he did pretty well. And he does give us that other dynamic on the set pieces. Has he got the pace or the crossing ability of Trippier? I don't know. Trippier, that's his spot to give away. But I definitely think if Trippier can really get down those wings in a 3-5-2 with him playing Walker in that back three, then I think it gives us that dynamic that we're looking for that can really change the game. If he has to go to a flat back 4, not a lot of options at the left back position. I know he left Bertrand out of the squad, but I really think he was looking to Rose to play those 90 minutes to get that match fitness so he can be one of the names first on the team sheet. Yeah. So let me ask the other question. After, obviously, Captain Kane, are Dyer and Dele 2 of the first names on the team sheet? Ben?
First, yeah, they're definitely up there. Dele's the second name on the team sheet without question. And I think that, a lot of people, like to knock Dyer for his kind of side to side and backwards passing, especially when he's playing for England. But he's serving a role, and he's doing exactly what's being asked of him, I think. So I think Dyer is definitely going to be in there. I would say he's probably the third, maybe fourth name on the team sheet.
I agree with Dele. I'm not so sure about Dyer as far as is he top 3 names on the team sheet. When you look at the formation, if it's going to be a 3-5-2, Kyle Walker made. I'm trying to remember the publication, but it was like the best 11, starting 11 team for all major European leagues. He was the right back on that team. And a lot of people have a lot of things to say about Walker, about, look at him, he moved off to City, he won 2 trophies this year, what City did for Walker. But I think you could reverse that and say, and look what Kyle Walker did for Manchester City. He was basically healthy the entire season. He played outstanding football at that right back position. He had a couple of breakdowns, but he always did, for Spurs as well. And there's not a right or left back in the league that's going to have those similar breakdowns. You also have to look, if they're going to play 2 up front, that Jamie Vardy is probably penciled in as that second striker, and his form closing out the year was outstanding for Leicester City.
He did not have a good game against Costa Rica.
Right.
He had the least touches by any player. He was invisible, and I don't know if having him and Rashford in the team was clogging up that center channel, but he just didn't get a chance to express himself. I really think he has to come on if Kane needs to come off. I just certainly don't see him starting, and it's going to be an interesting dynamic. So let's. Give me your starting 11 for England, Ben. Who I think we know who the number 1 keeper is. I don't know if you can dispute anyone above Pickford.
I say Pickford as well. Let me think. Pickford.
And let's assume it's going to be 3-5-2 or 3-5-1.
3-5-2 or 3-5-1. Okay. Pickford. Walker. I think maybe John Stones. That's the one I'm a little iffy on. Maguire. I think at right back there's going to be, or that right wing back, if we're doing the 3-5, we'll probably see Trippier. I wouldn't be surprised for that first. Are we saying for the first match or just in general?
I mean, just if we were to pick the starting 11 for England.
Yeah, I think I hate the idea of Henderson and Dyer playing next to each other, but I think we're absolutely going to see it a few times. So I don't be surprised at all. I mean, against Belgium, I absolutely think we're going to see Henderson and Dyer. So I'll just go with that one. I think so. We'll have Trippier, Henderson, Dyer. I think that Ashley Young might actually edge out Danny Rose. I don't like saying that, and then I think we'll see Dele, Kane, and probably Rashford.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that, Ken? Any differences? Ken's on mute.
I am on mute, Jesus.
Yeah, you
are. Kane up front, I think, man, I'll tell you what, I really like Jesse Lingard. I would like to see him somewhere, and listen, maybe he is really, really good off the bench, but I think he deserves maybe to start. I do see maybe Kane and Rashford up front, Ali, Dyer. I would love to pencil in Lingard right there.
What about Loftus-Cheek?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that too because you don't know.
He had a shocker against Nigeria. He did a bit better against Costa Rica. I just don't see Loftus-Cheek starting.
I thought he was decent against Costa Rica.
I think you can go Ali, Dyer, and Lingard, and then if you're gonna go 5 at the back, man, I'd love to see Trips get some time. I don't think it's gonna be Rose, Walker, Maguire, Cahill, and Stones. I hate saying that, but I think that's what it'll be.
So I'll go Pickford 3-5-2. I think I've already said it. Trips and Rose, Maguire over Stones with Cahill and Walker, Dyer anchoring the midfield with Dele, Kane, and Sterling did not impress me against Nigeria. His blatant dive was shocking. His ball distribution and his touch let him down. It certainly wasn't the Sterling we'd seen with City. So I could see probably Rashford or Lingard in there rounding out the 11. So I'd like to see Sterling do better. I think he had an outstanding season with Manchester City. But, yeah. So a couple of other things we need to probably address as the elephants in the room. As I just put 5 Spurs players in the starting 11. We've heard Tony Adams, nominee for Cunt of the Week.
And winner.
Probably the winner. Being concerned about the Spurs contingent letting down the side. And we know Euro 16 had, when Walker was the team, I think we had 5 in the squad at that time. Euro 16 was a bit of a clusterfuck for England and just an absolute mess, especially Harry Kane taking freaking corners.
That's so much down to Hodgson, though.
Well, it was.
To blame Spurs players for that is just completely, not see the forest for the trees.
Right, but knowing the social media meltdown after the Champions League, can you imagine if England whimpers yet again, that social media backlash us Spurs supporters are going to encounter if we fail to that kind of degree? I personally don't think we can, as I mentioned earlier, we cannot do worse than 2014, where we lost the first 2 matches and drew 0-0 with, was it Costa Rica in the last game? It was pathetic, terrible. And based on, again, as you said, Ben, you can't count anything on pre-tournament form. I went to Miami to watch England play Honduras in a 0-0 bore fest, and that actually was a leading indicator of how Brazil would be. And so that was against the form there. I'm hoping the form that we've shown in these 2 pre-tournament games gives us a good indication of how we would do. But let's talk about, is it a good thing or a bad thing to have 5 Spurs players potentially starting in this England team? I don't think any of us thought Trips would make the squad, but here he's got every opportunity to, add almost 50% of the team starting 11.